April 14, 2026, Lowell City Council meeting come to order. Lord's Prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Council Liang.
Here.
Council Juran.
Here.
Council McDonough.
Here.
Council Mercia.
Here.
Council Nuon.
Here.
Council Robinson.
Here.
Council Rourke.
Here.
Council Scott.
Here.
Council Chow.
Here.
Council Dakota. Mayor Getchia.
Here.
10 present.
Any moments of silence? Seeing none, we'll move on to the mayor's business. 2.1, communication, remote Zoom participation. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Juran, seconded by Councilor Liang. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 3.1, minutes of the Economic Development Subcommittee, April 7th. City Council regular meeting, April 7th for acceptance. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. We'll skip the 4 public hearings. They scheduled for 7 p.m. City Council motion 6.1. Councilor Liang requests the city manager have the relevant department explore solutions relative to Khmer fronts and translation accuracy and create and adapt an internal municipal translation policy for use when materials are translated by or for the city of Lowell prior to distribution.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Nuon. Councilor Liang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Happy New Year to all. Thank you so much. Lowell is an international hub, a stop where people come around the world regardless of their political views and stripes. Dignitaries and regular people stop by and visit. We are honored to display our heritage, values, and language. I understand that our Khmer font is quite complex. They include regular scripts, which is about 33 of them, subscripts, 33, superscripts, 24, and independent characters, that's 13. While it is complex, but the technology we have can align and reduce mistake by having vendors and city using the same font system. On another note, section is the translation policy. As far as the translation policy, if we don't have one, we need one. If we have one, we need to review to see if there are places that need review. Uniformity in reviewing translation before displaying our people's pride, heritage is important and should be treated as such. I have a lot of experience in this area and I can help in any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know Councilor Liang is right. Khmer language is very unique. And now, this is not the first time Councilor Liang raised issue. He raised issue before he ran for city council. And now it's here. And issue remain happening. I know we're human, so I think we can do better. We can do better, and we should, Mr. Managers, in terms of, you have someone already pay someone to translate it. You kind of like, it's not, you wouldn't know if it's correct or not, so maybe a second look at it certainly help. Send Councilor Liang volunteer, use his service. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate my colleague putting this motion on the floor. As Councilor Nuon mentioned, happened a couple times before. I'm just thinking maybe, I don't know, through Mr. Mayor to the city manager, maybe that the fonts have been downloaded on the computer here at City Hall. I wonder if the printer, because usually if you have these fonts correct on one computer, and once the program is transferred, once the slide or the document transferred to another computer, if that computer doesn't have Khmer fonts, and then I think it will mess up a lot of things. So I wonder if the print shop have Khmer fonts or not.
Manager Golden?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through to the council. Councilors, we have gone through this in the past, and Google Translate doesn't exactly do the best it can, but the city has changed what our practices are, and we've utilized CMAA as one of our major partners in this. Spanish we seem to get right. Portuguese we seem to get right. But in this particular matter, anytime there's something that goes out from the city, we make sure we run it through CMAA. There's a process for us. Now, some of our partners, we need to reach out to them. I know that there was a mistake that was made by one of our partners here in the city, and I know that I'd asked Ms. DeRoches to reach out to them to let them know how to appropriately check, because I think, once again, everybody's always stuck into the Google Translate, and it'll be fine, don't worry about it. But we'll be reaching out to our partner over at the LRTA to let them know that CMAA or Councilor Liang is at the ready. Once again, in City Hall, we have a lot of folks that read and write Spanish, read and write Portuguese, etc. So we're able to utilize that, and the translation is a little bit clearer. But we'll make sure that that is rectified in the future. But Councilor Liang, just for your, when it goes down, when Ms. DeRoches does this, we have a pretty standard order of operations that we now go through because of, actually, quite frankly, the South Common mishap that we had with the stone that was over there. So.
Councilor Chow?
I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.2, Councilor Juran, request
Could we bundle 6.2 and 6.6 together if,
motion to suspend the rules and bundle 6.2 and 6.6 by Councilor Juran, seconded by Councilor Nuon. Councilor Juran. Let me read them and I'll
Yes,
get right
please.
back. Councilor Juran requests the city manager invite an appropriate personnel member from the Boston Gas to come to make a presentation to the Technology and Utility Subcommittee on how it decides whether to repair versus replace gas mains. 6.6. Councilor Nuon requests the city manager have the appropriate department require any gas company to provide, when requesting a permit from the city of Lowell to replace a pipe or pipes, documentation explaining how the company arrived at the decision to replace the pipes as opposed to repairing them or substituting non-gas alternatives. Do we have anybody registered to speak, Mr.?
No. Oh,
Council-
excuse me, we do.
You do.
Sarah Lapp.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Lapp, 200 Market Street, number 416. So I want to first start off by thanking Councilors Nuon and Councilors Juran for bringing these motions to the council. So we appreciate these motions because we deeply understand that we need to address the gas leaks that are occurring in our systems. But that does not mean automatically that pipes have to be replaced. First of all, replacing gas pipes are significantly more expensive than repair costs, on the order of millions versus thousands. These costs end up being reimbursed by ratepayers, and they're a big reason why the delivery bills on our delivery charges on our gas bills are so high. Replacing the pipes means a long-term investment in systems that in Massachusetts we are moving away from due to the climate risk. And it continues to commit ratepayers for paying for infrastructure that we will not be using in the next couple of decades. The state, under DPU orders and the Massachusetts climate law, require gas companies to evaluate each pipe replacement to determine if repairing or switching to a non-gas option would be more beneficial to ratepayers and the general public. That information is not necessarily transparent when they come to to request permission within the hearings to replace pipes. And I believe that it is behind our council and the public to understand what is the costs and the benefits that have to go into these decisions. Furthermore, National Grid has recently requested a 9 to 10% increase in gas rates, and they just a month ago had the first public hearing with DPU in the city of Lowell to discuss the needs for this increase. There were two councilors here that very graciously spoke against it, saying that our citizens cannot afford to continue to invest in a system that is not going to return those dividends to us in the long-term future. So we would really support these motions to ensure that we are permitting the correct investments in the energy infrastructure of our city and make sure that we're set up correctly for the long-term future, for the climate risk and for the cost risks that our citizens have to endure. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Lapp, and at last week's City Council meeting, Mr. Grossman gave compelling accounts of the difference in cost and consumer impact of repair versus replacement of the gas mains. And so I think it's important that we have a better understanding of those implications as we, as city councilors, go through and approve the repair or replacement of those mains. Get a fuller understanding on a case-by-case basis about why the repair is going to be made, et cetera. We get, I think, rather cursory information to date. And I proposed sending this to the Technology and Utilities Subcommittee because it seems parallel to a motion that was made to send to that subcommittee similar kinds of information gathering about how National Grid deals with poles and double poles and other things that, again, we need to just understand better in order to do our jobs appropriately as city councilors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank speakers, Sarah Lapp. Last week it was John Grossman. I'm not really astute on this issue. They both are. Been advocating for not just the environment, but also for ratepayer. So when John spoke last week and Sarah today or tonight, it dawned to me that you have a companies that bottom line is bottom line. Instead of repair, they replace because it doesn't cost to them; it costs to the ratepayer. I agree that we should send this to Utilities Subcommittee. If we decide to do that, we need to speed that up because they're coming. They're coming every week before us, and their decision is not about repair it. Their decision replace it. The burden is going to be on the ratepayer, not on them as a company. We are here to look out for our residents. So while we are planning or schedule or Technology and Utilities Subcommittee, any application coming before this council with regard to pipe replacement has to attach with documentation explaining why they arrive at that replacement and not repairing. That's all.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we look at the request that's on the agenda currently, in part of that package, you can see the application form where it says utility gas, the project address, the reason National Grid's requesting the grant of location to replace an existing cast iron gas main on Gorham Street that dates back to early time. I mean, are they providing whoever's signing off from the city photos to kind of back up what these requests, or is it our people that go out and inspect and sign off on this permit that the council votes on then?
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. That's the responsibility of our engineers to look at that.
And is there a documented photo or something on file from whoever's signing off with the review?
I would need to check with the engineer's office to make sure that that was happening.
Thank you very much.
They do, Councilor Robinson, they do provide a big folder. It's upstairs in engineering. Everyone they do is upstairs in engineering.
And in my office as well.
And in the clerk's office. Robinson?
If that's the case, I mean, would that be something that we could include with, when the council's looking at the permit and it's requesting, you know, whatever that request is, can we get a copy of that photo as well?
Some of them are 200 pages.
Photos?
Yeah, there's 200 pages of documents in there. Some of them are big.
Individual case, okay. All right, thank you.
Councilor Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was also going to ask about the process that we follow. I understand that it's very confusing. I attended the meeting. I was lucky to attend the meeting at the senior center on this. What became clear is that full pipe replacement seems to be their preferred model. And a lot of residents are asking, you know, why is that? If the state is moving away from gas pipelines, why are we replacing everything instead of repairing them? And then passing the costs in full onto ratepayers. And I think that's the part that's missing, is that you're paying for all these repairs in full. From National Grid, Colonial Gas, whoever. They also had billing mistakes, and they were trying to pass the billing mistakes onto the ratepayers. So there's a lot of questions that are happening, and I think that's why I appreciate that this was brought forward, because it brings it for a bigger discussion here on the floor. And I do think we have an obligation to make sure that we're making sure that we're checking that work as valid work before it gets, like I said, billed back to us in the end, because our electric rates proposed this year, our gas rate proposal was 8 to 10% increase that they're looking for approval for again. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. Manager Golden?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. I just want to be clear. So the technology, utility, and subcommittee that we're going to have, we want to have them talk about double poles, obviously, and the gas replacement for pipes and billing. So all three for the technology and utility subcommittee. Is that okay?
It was my proposal to send it to the same committee, since they seem to be intertwined. And I think what we had sent there back in February was double poles, future poles, and gas projects anyway. So, but I think there also is Councilor Nuon's proposal is that in the interim, until that meeting can be scheduled, we really should be more rigorous about both the information we're getting and what we're considering as we make the decisions on utility policy.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor McDonough?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, through you to anyone in the room who might be able to answer this question better than Google. What's the lifespan on a under road gas main? Quick Google looked like 50 plus years, but I don't know how accurate that number is. Yeah.
It depends on what it was laid in. It depends on a lot of the soil types and stuff like that, but the average is 50 years, yes.
And so I guess two-pronged question. One, in this 200-page plus packet that goes along with the gas main proposals that is reviewed by the engineer's office before it comes to us for a vote, would we be able to, at a minimum, just get how old that pipe is that they're proposing to replace, or?
That's part of what you're going to the subcommittee for, so that
Right.
they can add it to the document, and whatever the changes are will go there, but I don't think that would be a problem.
Okay, that seems like not a huge ask out of all that 200 pages. And then the only other thing I would say, and I know it's going to the subcommittee, is I understand not wanting to make the investment in infrastructure that's going to last for 50 to 100 years that may or may not be phased out. And I think that the goal of the state is that it would be phased out, whether we think that's going to happen or not. I think that is the policy goal. But I would also just say I don't really know, as far as the effect on the ratepayer, what effect for the subcommittee, I guess, what effect we can really have, because I would imagine National Grid does have a vested, they have a vested, they have an economic interest here, a business interest in replacing these pipes. And so if they don't replace it in Lowell, I'm assuming they're going to go, a town over and replace that pipe instead. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't look at it. Thank you.
one of the questions is if one part of the pipe is failing and you just repair that, it's like water mains. If you have 3 breaks on the same street and you just keep repairing them and then you replace the road with a brand-new road and another one breaks, now you just broke into a brand-new road. So there's a lot of questions that go along to this subcommittee on this piece. It's not as simple as just repairing one section because the other section is just as old, and if you spend that money on replacing that road, our residents will be calling us every 3 minutes that you cut into that road within that moratorium. Yeah. All in favor of the motions signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.3, Councilor Juran requests the city manager have the appropriate department evaluate ways to encourage drivers to respect the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit in the city, particularly in light of GPS-enabled vehicles. Seconded by Councilor Liang. Councilor Juran.
Thank you very much. Until recently, I drove a 2010 Honda, which didn't have cameras or traffic sign recognition or intelligent speed assistance. But my new car actually displays the current speed limit on many of the roads as I'm driving around Lowell and other communities. And I noticed that it often displays speeds of 30 or 35 miles an hour on many roads in Lowell that are subject to the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, or it doesn't display a speed limit at all. And I think there are ways that the city, in coordination with the state and other municipalities, could find ways to let the various GPS apps and mapping systems know the speed limit. And I believe that our transportation engineer has tried those approaches, and I'd ask that she continue to keep her eye on opportunities to do so. But in the meantime, we may be able to help by adding an additional 25-mile-an-hour signs at various strategic spots around the city so that cars will remind their drivers what the speed limit is. And I suspect from the research I've done that only a standard 25-mile-an-hour sign rather than the yard sign version would be read appropriately by the traffic sign recognition software. I do understand that many drivers ignore the speed limit signs or forget that the 25-mile-an-hour sign that they read when they entered the city applies citywide, but that little display on their dashboard is a continuous reminder of the speed limit when it's working properly. So I think it can be helpful as we think about traffic calming measures. This might be a somewhat simple way to help ensure that we're encouraging the compliance with our speed limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we heard of this at the last night's neighborhood meeting in the Highland about the 25 mile per hours. Has we complete all the all street now 25 mile per hour sign on, right? Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager.
Manager Golden.
Yes, that has happened. What we're doing is we're working with MassDOT, as Councilor Juran had spoken about. We're working with MassDOT because MassDOT is the collector of the information to speak to WAZE, W-A-Z-E, those organizations. And we're having a little bit of a challenge because they haven't exactly adopted yet when communities go 25 miles an hour throughout the entire community. For what reason, I don't know. But at this point in time, Ms. Altman has been talking to MassDOT. Once MassDOT would allow it to happen, they'll be sending it out to WAZE and the other organizations that people utilize for driving throughout the cities. But we also, I know we've ordered a couple, I think we have half dozen at least coming in, the automatic signs that we'll be placing throughout the city, and we'll continue to update those periodically. I mean, we could probably use a lot more than 6 to 12 of those, but we'll order those as needed or as we can bring in.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, one more question. Where are we in terms of enforcing, full force enforcing 25 mile per hours? Do you know?
Manager Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. I can talk to the superintendent about that. We can find that out, but we do have a step process, the STEP process, where we do have, unfortunately, it's a limited number of officers that are trained in how to do that. Our direct patrols which, you know, I'd normally say car 2, et cetera, car 1, 2, 3. All the direct patrols are always, they're out there paying attention, but our step vehicles, those are the folks that are actually out there doing the radar. So that's something I can find out for everybody. And I do know in the beginning, we passed out a whole bunch of warnings to let people know. You know, once again, trying to let everyone know that 25 miles an hour, when in doubt, go 25 miles an hour. But Councilor Juran brings up a very good point. Some of the vehicles are reading something differently. So we are working through that with MassDOT and the other apps, I guess, the other applications that are utilized.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, so ordered. Councilor Rook. Motion by Councilor Rook to suspend the rules to take 8.3, vote accept a gift of labor for the bottle concession stand out of order, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, councilors, and thank you very much to the public.
Wait a minute. Let me read the full
Sorry.
reading. I'm sorry. Waive full reading and second reading by title. Authorize the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift of labor from various local unions and a local general contractor for the construction of the bottle concession stand building at Shed Park in the city of Lowell.
Registered speakers, Mr. Mayor. Brian Durkin.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Durkin, 25 Dinsmore Street in Lowell. If it's okay with the mayor and the manager, I'd like Matt Lalash just to go first, just to get us going. Thanks.
Awesome, no pressure. Thank you, Mr. Durkin. Members of the council, Matt Lalasher, 39 Perrin Way. I'm the president of Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball League. I had asked for the opportunity, and Brian, who is never afraid to speak, was nice enough to let me go first, just to make sure we start off with thanking the city for the diligence that they've put into this. This has been a number of years in the making. And it has taken twists and turns throughout the process to get to the point of what's before you today. And I can't thank enough Giovanni Baez-Rose, Camilo, the DPW, Mark Byrne, who worked so hard on this, the manager, the assistant city manager, the mayor, mayors 3 times before this. And what this does and what you have before you today, Brian will speak more to who Steve was and what Steve meant to the kids of this city. But what this will mean going forward and what the Merrimack Valley Building Trades Council has been willing to do, what David Daly is willing to do to be a part of this, is everything that's right with the city of Lowell. And this is an opportunity for us to allow not just baseball and softball, while it's positioned as a concession stand restroom facility for baseball and softball for the youth, it's also the JV field for Lowell High School. And the girls having restroom facilities is an equitable opportunity that we have been unable to provide prior to today. It also is where cross-country is run for both middle school and for the high school. And so this facility is far more than just a concession stand for baseball and softball. This is something that, again, through the very generous donations of Mr. Daly and the Merrimack Valley Building and Trades Councilman, who you'll see in a moment, is going to come to fruition. And so I just wanted to thank all of those people involved and let you know what was before you and what it means to everybody in the city. So thank you very much.
Mr. Durkin.
Hello again. Mayor Gitcher, members of the City Council, Manager Golden, I'd also like to take the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Brian Durkin. I'm a resident of Lowell. I'm the Director of Player Development for Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball. I want to echo the sentiments that Matt expressed here tonight. I want to accomplish 3 things in speaking here. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Manager Golden is an incredible team that worked side by side as we navigated every possible pitfall, every possible obstacle, every possible issue that we could along the way here to be able to get us here tonight. I I want to thank Dave Daly and Daly Construction for stepping up to take on this project as the general contractor. And I want to thank the hardworking union members and their representatives like John Drinkwater, the Merrimack Valley Building Trades Council, in collaborating with us to make this happen. We're humbled by your generosity and we're appreciative beyond words. The second purpose of speaking here tonight is to simply state why this project was necessary. By way of timing, this project was 7 years in the making. The structure solves a great deal of issues at the park, as it will provide permanent sanitary facilities for all, a safe place for baseball and softballs to change, players to change, and will serve as a true asset to the community to serve over our 400 baseball and softball players and their families of the Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball League, as well as Lowell High School. The third and final purpose is to speak tonight about the building, the person after whom this building is being named, Stephen Botto. Back in 2021, I appeared before the Board of Parks petitioning for the naming rights to this structure. In the past, I've heard Chairman Finnegan speak about heroes and importance of reserving honors for those who make a difference in the world and our communities. And I found for the board's consideration that night a definition of what a community hero is. Individuals who offer their courage, strength, and self-sacrifice in the service of neighbor or neighbors, benefiting people who may never know them by name but will certainly benefit from the rewards of their work. If it pleases the council, and I apologize if I go over 3 minutes, but I want to tell you a little bit about Steve, because I think it's important that we recognize how amazing people in our community can be and what an instrumental impact that they can have across the board for little boys, little girls, parents, coaches, volunteers, and the people of our great city. Steve grew up in Centerville. He played baseball for Lowell High School in the UMass Lowell Riverhawks, and he was the team captain of both teams. And that's because people gravitated to Steve's leadership qualities, and they appreciated the respect that he showed for each unique individual. Following his playing career, he became a physical education teacher at Greater Lowell Regional Vocational Technical High School. He coached baseball there as well as at Lowell High School. Steve married his wife, Melissa Burns of Lowell, and they raised, and Melissa continues to raise their children in Belvedere. And that is through their children, Matthew and Abby, that Steve became involved with Shed Park. Steve coached virtually every level of our organization. He coached practices, clinics, regular games, travel ball. Wherever the league needed him, Steve was there. You could find him. He would care for our fields, often seen raking them, dragging them, ensuring they got water, lining them, preparing them for games and tournaments or practices. He was meticulous about the field's appearances because he took great pride in Lowell being represented well, both in terms of the product on the field as well as our fields themselves. Like me, Steve was the director of player development for Shed Park, which is now Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball. He taught coaches, volunteers, and parents how to coach and how to teach the game. He helped develop and implement clinics to reach out to our community and foster the growth of the sport. He was a catalyst for the creation of the citywide league so that every kid in Lowell would have an equal opportunity, the same opportunity, to love the sport like he did. His mantra on and off the field was that the game should be played with a combination of hard work, hustle, determination, and respect. And these weren't words to Steve. They were requirements. Just prior to Steve starting his last round of chemotherapy, he was part of the subcommittee of our board seeking to get this project off the ground. He was so excited to see this building would provide a concession stand, storage facilities, and sanitation facilities to our park. In short, he loved the fact that he was helping make it better for generations to come. He believed wholeheartedly that it was our obligation to leave it better than we found it. This was Steve. His time, his effort, and his strength, all while battling cancer, was dedicated to the advancement of our sport and the perpetual improvement and preservation of our fields. In every field at Shed Park, there hangs the number 4, the number worn by Steve. I'm sure some of you have still been wondering why that number 4 is up there. That was the uniform number that he wore both as a player and a coach. His family at Shed Park honors Steve's legacy because we want our players to be more like 4. Work hard, hustle, and play the game with determination and respect. This building that is going to come to fruition because of the generosity and the hard work of this administration and the unions and Dave Daly. This building bearing his name is a fitting tribute and a permanent reminder of a man that helped many people without them knowing his name, but definitely benefited from his hard work. We made a promise 7 years ago to see this project to fruition. With the generosity of these gifts from Daly Construction and the Merrimack Valley Building Trades Council, we will see it done. We will leave it better than we found it, in memory of Steve and for the betterment of Lowell. And I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here tonight. Thank you.
Timothy Collins. Timothy Collins. That's it. I don't have any more.
Good evening, members of the City Council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager. It's great to be up here in front of you guys, once again. It was great to wake up this morning, put in an honest 8 hours at Lowell High School, go home, get showered, and come here and share the spotlight with these fine gentlemen for this great cause. I think it's proof once again that the trade unions in and around this community are heavily invested in investing in our community. Again, it's a real honor and a privilege to stand with these gentlemen, and I feel that when given the opportunity, these types of things can happen all the time. With that being said, I'll share the time, and I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk. Do you have anyone else?
No more.
Motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Nuon, seconded by Councilor Mercier. If there is anyone else wishing to speak, they could come up and speak. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the council. Councilors, thank you for suspending the rules. If Mr. Daly, Mr. Drinkwater, and Mr. Amato could please come up. Once again, Mr. Amato is Merrimack Valley Building Trades. Dave Daly is owner-operator of Daly Investments and Building. And Mr. Drinkwater is the Painters Allied Trades. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we could get the rest of the crew in here as well, be much appreciated.
David Daly, 40 Lillian Street, Lowell, Mass. Just really excited, echoing Matt's sentiments. I've been involved in this for the last 8 to 10 years, and we've hit every roadblock in the world to try to make this thing happen. And to be here tonight to celebrate the fact that this is finally going to come to fruition is just beyond exciting for us. I had the good fortune of growing up with Steve and knowing as a friend and not as much as a teammate, because he was too good of a baseball player for me to be on his team. But he was such a great guy, and to see what he went through and the struggles he went through, I think he's up looking on us tonight to get this thing to the point where we're finally going to start building. We're really excited about that. Just the fact is that we were able to come together as the city administration and the trades union in the private contractor to make this thing happen is just unbelievable. It's maybe something we can replicate again in the future, but to be able to finally get this thing built, and we're excited to be a part of that, is just really exciting. And together with the trade unions, we'll just really be a part of this, and thank everyone for all their assistance to get us here tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, members of the council. It's a real pleasure to be back in the chambers here tonight, and particularly for something as positive and exciting as this project. For the record, my name is John Drinkwater. I'm here representing my union, the Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 35, as well as the Merrimack Valley Building Trades Council, and I happen to be a Lowell youth baseball and softball parent as well. And actually, as we approach opening day this coming weekend, I was actually thinking back to my first opening day as a Lowell youth baseball parent when my kids were playing t-ball. And at that opening day, just to give you some perspective on how long this project has been worked on, at that opening day, at that time, State Representative Dave Nangle threw out the first pitch, having just secured some state funding to help move that project forward. A couple opening days later, State Representative Vanna Howard threw out the first pitch, having just secured some state funding to move that project forward. Around the same time, when I had the honor of sitting on that side of the banister, this city council was able to find some funding to help try to push this project over the finish line. And at every juncture, and not to mention, by the way, the many personal contributions from the families and friends of the Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball program. However, at every time that the bids went out, we came up just ahead of what we had in the account to get this project done. So I want to thank you, Mr. Manager, your teams in the planning department, the parks department, for moving this project along. It was a complicated project. And by making incremental progress, by mapping out the utilities, and then extending the utilities and putting down a pad on the site and stubbing everything out to make this thing ready to build, we were able to get it to this point. And in keeping in contact with the league, with your administration, it became clear that to actually get this thing done, it was going to take kind of a big assist. So at that juncture, reaching out to my colleagues at the Merrimack Valley Building Trades Council, officers Billy Liang from the Painters and Allied Trades, as well as Frank Amato from Plumbers and Gasfitters, Local 12, they brought it to the full group of affiliates, and I'm happy to say that everyone was fully on board to chip in and get this project done. So you'll hear from a few of the folks who represent the Merrimack Valley Building Trades who will just identify themselves here tonight. But it's very gratifying to get to this point, to get this done. What we really needed once labor was on board was a quarterback, somebody to manage this project, and very grateful to David Daly and Daly General Contracting for quarterbacking these efforts while we bring the labor. And I do just want to say that when we brought this to our brothers and sisters in labor, as necessary as this project was, the thing that really resonated with the folks who were going to help get this done was who this is for, who this building will be named for, and whether or not you knew Steve Botto, and I sadly only had the opportunity to know Steve for a very short time, but it quickly comes through why so many people admire him and what he brought to this community and to the youth of this city. So I think when people heard why this project mattered to so many people in this city, everyone just wanted to get on board and get this done. And the kids in this program have an understanding of why they wear number 4 on their sleeve, and it's because there's good people who knew Steve Botto well, who can explain what that number represents and the way you approach the game and what you bring to the field every day. And this building will ensure that kids in this program will know what the number 4 means and who Steve Botto was for a very long time to come. So thank you very much to everyone for their support, and I will leave it to Mr. Amato to speak on behalf of the Building Trades Council. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. We appreciate the opportunity tonight. I am Frank Amato. I am a business agent with Plumbers and Gasfitters, Local 12, Boston. I'm a resident of Billerica, so I'm right next door, but I've been coming to Lowell pretty much most of my life. And, having these opportunities is really what it's all about. Being the president of Merrimack Valley Building Trades, it's an honor to represent the members of the hardworking members of all the unions. But tonight, I think having names and faces behind who's going to be behind this project is a great opportunity. So to take that, I'd pass it on to Dave O'Loughlin.
Thank you, Frank. My name is David O'Loughlin. I'm a resident of Methuen, neighbors, and I just thank you guys for letting us be part of this, and it's our honor to help out the children of the city. Thank you very much.
How you doing? I'm Juan Bracetti, resident of Pelham, New Hampshire, born and raised in Lowell, Local 3 bricklayers, and just glad to be a part of this. Sorry, I don't do this much, but just glad to be a part of this. All right, sorry guys. Thank you.
Adam Schindler. I own Schindler Plumbing and Heating, Local 12 contractor and Lowell resident. I'm pretty excited about this. So thanks, guys.
Robert Judson, Lowell resident with the Carpenters Union. I grew up in Tingsboro next door, but I moved to Lowell a long time ago, and this city's amazing. I appreciate everything. I played over 30 baseball at Shed Park, and we need to do it, and glad the Carpenters could be a part of it. Thank you.
William Liang, business rep for the Panderson Allied Trades, District Council 35, also the Vice President of the Merrimack Valley Building Trades. Really excited to get this project done, guys. Thank you for your time.
With that, we'll close that portion, and we'll go to the council members. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I say, don't thank us. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so proud. When you hear the terms, there's a lot to like about Lowell. There truly is. And this is a fine example of what we're talking about when we say those words. There's a lot to like about Lowell. Thank you very much. These are the unsung heroes. I love the union because my husband was president of Local 39 at the time. Now it's 35. So my heart is with you. I was on WCAP yesterday afternoon. It was the first time Gary Francis had his show in the afternoon, and I was his guest, and he said, well, let's talk about the agenda. He says, is there anything exciting on the agenda? I said, you bet there is. Let me tell you about all the unions that got together, and I named every single union. And this is a project that would cost, if we as a city or taxpayers, $275,000. You did that for us, for the children. I have a special place in my heart for coaches, because a coach keeps a child occupied, keeps them going, teaches them how to be competitive but respectful. And some of you are the product of being in baseball like that. So I'm so very proud of each and every one of you. Dave Daly, you're amazing. This is what I call about a person that has something and gives it out to help others. Congratulations. Thank you so much, and thank you. And the ladies there, I'm so proud of you. Good for you. Woo-hoo!
Councilor Juran.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. And as somebody said, this community effort really reflects and demonstrates what is great about Lowell. And I really appreciate your coming forward and undertaking this effort for the children of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. For the past 4+ years, we've talked about trying to get things done just because. Projects just like this, perfect example. This one is very special based on all the testimony we've heard about the miraculous person. I've never gotten the chance to meet, but you hear nothing but amazing things. Again, anytime a collaboration between trades, local people getting their hands dirty and working to do something for any community it's mind-blowing. We've kicked around the ideas, and I think Mr. Daly touched on something very important, especially with this budget and everything in the near future looking the way it is. When you see these professionals of tradesmen come together and say, we're going to make this right for the community, it's awe-inspiring, and I hope we can continue these collective efforts and partnerships between the City of Lowell and our local trades. And again, I think this further strengthens the reason this council has talked in the past. We need to find more ways to incorporate our tradespeople into local positions and jobs. So thank you all for stepping up and making this a reality. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wow, I'm very impressed. I don't know Steve Bodo, but his labors of love did not go unnoticed. You have every trade in this room come together And when everyone come together, nothing impossible. And this is all for the children. Appreciate all they've done, Matt, Dave, Brian, John, and all the trade. Thank you for doing it. And thank you for reminding our communities that your labor of love will never go unnoticed. And that's what Mr. Steve Bodo, labor of love. Thank you very much for all of you being here in the same room, doing what you do. Thank you.
Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate everyone coming to speak tonight. A lot of wonderful things been said about Steve Bottle. I don't know him personally, but I have some of his family members who live in my neighborhood, and we talk about him quite frequently, the type of impact that he had on with kids of all ages. And just a wonderful history to speak of the love that all of you have for him, and the community love for him. One thing I want to comment is the nonprofit organization Mr. Daly put together to raise funds for this project. It really is a true partnership between public and private partnership, and all your volunteerism come together to make this happen. This is going to be very, very meaningful for the kids and for the families for many generations to come. So thank all of you.
Councilor Rook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a special evening tonight. Maybe with the exception of our auditor, Kelly Oakes. I was very close to Steve. We grew up together. I was his classmate, his teammate. He was one of my best friends. People that know Steve know the battle and the hell that he went through, along with his family. And as much as Steve suffered, he was always available. He always was there to coach and be part of kids, not just his own too. But he was always there and always participating. And just, every time you asked him how he was doing, brush to the side and say, how are you doing? How are your kids doing? And it just makes it very special to be here tonight. I know, the mayor knows this and others, but these estimates were much, much higher than what we're here for right now. And to come together and, anybody that can bring Dave Daly and unions together, that is something that's made Steve even more special. So if Jeff Thomas doesn't kill him during the project, I think that would be a victory right there. And if anybody else other than Steve, we're there. And, there's a lot of people that deserve gratitude and thanks, but I just want to mention John Drinkwater. When these numbers and estimates came out, again, there were 3 or 4 times what we're voting on this evening. I remember speaking to John at the time and asking him, the possibilities of what can be done and how we can go about doing it. Getting a hold of Dave, and I was, going right down the line of all, you men and women here that have volunteered, your time, your service, your effort to get this done. I know many of you know Steve personally, so it would be a special project for you folks as well. And again, I just want to express my gratitude for everything that you're doing here. And it'll be a special time when we do get a chance to unveil the place for Steve. All the people that have been a part of his life in the past. So thank you very much.
Vice Mayor Nuon, would you come up for a minute?
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. It's fitting tonight that all of you are giving back, because that's who Steve Bottle was. And I think it took so long to get this done because he was waiting for all of you to give back. That's who he was as a person, as Brian Durkin pointed out and Councilor Rourke pointed out. When Steve always gave back to others. He never expected anything in return. Steve was a person who was proud. He was strong, humble, and he was always giving to people. I've known Steve for a very, very long time. And when you see on Greater Lowell's hat every day, the number 4, Lowell High, he left Greater Lowell to coach at Lowell High because he wanted to be where his son was going. And then when you see the gifts that he left everybody, it's amazing to see that we all waited for all of you to come in and give back like he did. That's who Steve was. He never wanted anything for anything. He just went out and gave back. He built character in people. He pushed you beyond what you ever thought you could do. And if you didn't, he would call you every single day to make sure that you were okay. Even when he was, as Council Rook said, he wasn't in his best way, he would call and see how you were doing. And we thank all of you for being part of our city. I think it's important that we see this come together as a gift, because that's what Steve was to all of us. He was a gift. So I thank you all for donating your time. I thank Lowell Youth Baseball for all they're doing for the youth in our city. And, you know, we sit here and we wonder why Lowell is the best city in America, and it's standing right behind us. Thank you again. With that, Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Need a motion, Mr. Mayor.
We have motion to adopt by Council Rook, seconded by Council Robinson. Roll call.
Council Juran.
Yes.
Council Liang.
Yes.
Council McDonough.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Nuon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota. Mayor Getchia.
Yes. Thank you all again. We're going to go to the general
Mayor,
public
if I
here.
could, I'd be remiss. Opening day is Saturday. The parade is from the Songus Arena to the Lasher Park from 2 to 4:30. Come on out and have hot dogs and fun.
At this time, we're going to go to the general public hearings scheduled for 7 o'clock. 4.1, ordinance amend fee schedule, body art license. Give second reading. Okay. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts with respect to Chapter 150 thereof entitled Fees by amending certain sections. Motion to accept by council. Oh, open up the hearing, I'm sorry. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? That portion of the meeting, the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? 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 That portion of the hearing is closed. Wish of the body.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Council Nuon, seconded by Council Robinson. Roll call.
Council Juran.
Yes.
Council Liang.
Yes.
Council McDonough.
Yes.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Council Nuon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Council Rourke.
Yes.
Council Scott.
Yes.
Council Chow.
Yes.
Council Dakota. Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
And yes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. 5, utility public hearings. 5.1, Boston Gas request replacement of existing gas main on Fletcher Street from Suffolk to Rock Street. Give second reading.
Just do it off the
Vote authorizing the city manager on, where is it?
No, just read it off the, just read it off there.
Okay, second reading, Boston Gas replace existing gas main on Fletcher Street from Suffolk to that. Open the hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Seeing no one. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? 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 That portion of the meeting is closed. What's the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approval by Council Mercia, seconded by,
Send it to her.
motion to refer to wire inspector by Council Mercia, seconded by Council McDonough.
Okay.
Roll call. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Back to motions. 6.4, Councilor Juran requests the city manager have the appropriate departments address traffic safety concerns on East Merrimack Street, east of High Street. Seconded by Councilor Chow. Councilor Juran. Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Wednesday night, there was a car accident on East Merrimack Street across from the Immaculate Conception School with a vehicle going through the fence and landing in the front, or a fence, and landing in the front yard of a house. I can understand why the neighbors are upset, especially since a number of parked cars have been hit on that block over several years. The neighbors have apparently asked for stop signs for a number of years at the corner of East Merrimack and High Street to discourage speeding as cars come up East Merrimack from downtown towards Nesmith Street. I don't know whether stop signs will help or whether other traffic calming measures would work. So if possible, I'd like the transportation engineer to look into what might be possible and whether there are other challenges or unintended consequences that would need to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Motion to suspend the rules to take 6.5 and 6.8 together. Is that okay by the?
Sure, absolutely.
By Councilor Chow, seconded by Councilor Nuon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.5, Councilor Nuon requests the mayor recognize the month of April as Autism Awareness Month. 6.8, Councilor Chow requests Mayor Gitcher on behalf of the City Council recognize the month of April as Autism Acceptance Month in the City of Lowell. Councilor Nuon.
Mr. Mayor.
Is there anybody registered to speak?
Do we have a speaker? Mr. Mayor, this motion you filed last year as well. The same families asking that we, use the month of April as the Autism Awareness Month. I think also is that maybe the city can do is work in partnership of, let's say, Greater Lowell Community Foundation and or other partner, lighten the bridge. So that's one way to raise awareness. Other way is to maybe working with our community-based organization to advocate for promote understanding of the issue. Those are some of the things I think I thought of. I think last year I don't remember what the family have done. Maybe Mayor Kachias can remember that last year, but. We need to continue to do that to raise awareness, promote understanding, acceptance of autism, and also at the same time too dispel the myths about autism. So I know that I have a motion response coming up, and one of the ideas is to lighten the bridge. That we do that in partnership, like I said, Greater Lowell Community Foundation and all other partner. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Nuon also made the motion, as you've heard. He mentioned many important things that are happening with the organizations right now. I just want to make an additional comment. It's worth highlighting right now that the former St. John Dog School that in the process of being acquired and putting bids out, that's going to be dedicated to autism program to be right here in Lowell at the school. With that said, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Manager, I'm wondering if currently, are there partners currently in addition to Greater Lowell Community Foundation, other organizations like WinFin or UMass Lowell, or any other stakeholders currently focusing on autism in the city right now?
Manager Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, that's what we will be doing. We'll be reaching out to our partners, especially Mr. Linehan over the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, to see how we can light up the bridges, as the Councilor Nuon was talking about. But we can also make sure our social media, recognizes the fact that April is Autism Awareness Month. So we can do all of this, and we can ask our other partners, UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College, to participate at that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Liang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And first, I just want to apologize to my friends and neighbors that I didn't have time to speak about this last week. So April is a special month, as it's also Autism Awareness Month. I want to take a moment to shine a light on our friends and family members with autism who often experience the world in different, unique, truly way. Many of them may be a bit more sensitive to things like bright light, loud sound, or social situation, and that's perfectly okay. Let's also cheers and thanks all the amazing caregivers in our community and beyond. Being aware means open our hearts and welcome everyone into our schools, our workplace, and neighborhoods, just as they are. It's about creating inclusiveness spaces where everyone can express themselves and connect in their own unique, special way. Inclusion is more than just a nice gesture. It's a basic right. It's all about listening more, making few assumptions, and celebrating the different perspectives that enrich our community here in Lowell. So this Autism Awareness Month, let's spread some kindness, patience, and acceptance to all. And let's give a big shout out to the dedicated parents and caregivers who work so hard every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. Councilor Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I thank my colleagues for bringing this forward. I agree. I think another thing that works when we're looking to promote different things that we support and stand behind, that's community forward, short video clips. I think we have a great team. We've seen in the past when we put together the short video clips highlighting some of this, it really gets a lot of traction. I think if you look at the data, it proves it. Have them run on local TV, LTC, maybe inside Lowell if we have to purchase or grab a couple spots to run whatever that is for the month. Also available on city website. Those short clips should be accessible to the public. They want to click on and say, hey, what is it this month? Now they get to see that clip. It kind of creates space that people can look forward to checking and get updated monthly. Distributed, as the manager said, distributed throughout our social media outlets. I think it's a good idea as well to keep the outreach going. One thing I'd like to commend also is the administration. I think in the past couple of years, I'm not sure how aware the public may be, but this administration has been very mindful of residents that face some of these challenges on their daily life. And you've seen, we built it into all of our open space projects when we could, through the ARPA program, as well as festivals. I know we've created safe space for individuals with our Monster Bash, amongst many others. So I'm glad to see that everybody's rowing in the same direction on this, and let's continue to build that platform to highlight everything that the community deserves for information. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor McDonough?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has been my whole career, and it's going to continue to be September. But I would just say that over the last 10 years, and before that, but the common refrain in special education and in I guess the kinds of spaces, after school spaces, extracurricular spaces where there are, a lot of kids with autism, is that it's not, like there's nothing temporary about special education needs, nor is it something that you grow out of. I think that when we think about autism, awareness or autism acceptance, it's not just something that needs to be addressed at parks and playgrounds, as much as it is, and that is, vitally necessary. There are also autistic 45-year-olds and autistic 75-year-olds and everything in between. And as we continue to become more inclusive as a city, and I think this administration and past councils have done a very good job moving in that direction, thinking about how more not just playgrounds need to be inclusive spaces. So how can we have a more inclusive city hall? How can we have a more inclusive and accessible library, city hall, senior center, et cetera? And I think continuing to move in that direction would be great, but I thank both my colleagues for the motion.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All in favor signify by saying aye. Councilor Scott.
Thank you. No, I was just going to ask if we could take 614 out of order. I believe we have a speaker.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Councilor Scott, which number? Suspend the rules. Councilor Scott,
Yeah.
615?
614.
614. Seconded by Councilor Rourke. 614. Mayor Getchell requests the city manager have the proper department name the area of Pawtucket Street from Merrimack Street to Salem Street, Meehan Way, in honor of UMass President Marty T. Meehan. Seconded by Councilor Nuon. You have a registered speaker, Mr. Clerk?
There's no register.
Motion to suspend the rules by Councilor McDonough, seconded by Councilor Mercy to allow the speaker to speak. Just please state your name and address for the record.
Ken Harkins, 110 Bigelow Street. I don't have a problem with Marty. But what I have a problem with is back in 1978, this council agreed to name Dutton Street after Mayor Arlene Simpson. I came to the council and spoke about it. They put one, and the city clerk was the acting manager at the time, and he took care of, he put a sign up for it. I went to, when you were over at the city council at the senior center doing hearings, I spoke to someone at the city manager's office about having a graffiti taken off of that sign, and the sign was taken down, and now there's a no parking sign there. That's kind of embarrassing, and it kind of aggravates me. But I think that as you're spending money on fixing this area for Marty, you should also be looking at fixing something that occurred in 1978 when a lady broke the glass barrier before there was a glass barrier. And I would appreciate that being put to the council and have that rectified. You may have to research it, which you have staff to do that. But it occurred in 1978 when right after Eileen was mayor. I would appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that I was allowed to speak about it, and I thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, could we look into that, please? Thank you. With that, that portion is closed. Committee Member McDonough.
Committee member McDonough.
That's you.
Okay.
City Councilor
Yahoo.
McDonough.
Thank you.
John McDonough.
Thank you. That's me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would actually wonder if we might, I don't know if this is an amend the motion or it would be a substitute motion. In looking, it looks like the City Council does have the authority to just name and rename streets whenever we want to. I Googled it. 243-6, naming of streets. City Council has the authority to give names to all streets. Pretty good. And I would actually ask that where East Campus, Pawtucket Street is a one-way street, and then it crosses this tiny little bridge, kind of intersects weirdly with Father Morissette, and then resumes as Pawtucket Street in front of University Crossing, and then continues on for who knows how long. And so I think that it would be very appropriate if the council, if Mr. Mayor, if it is amenable to your original motion, if the council is amenable, that portion of Pawtucket Street that is, I think, entirely UMass Lowell addresses. I think maybe Boot Hydro has an address that might need to be considered, but they are, I looked, the only non-UML address on that section of Pawtucket Street. And so then I would offer the substitute motion that the City Council rename Pawtucket Street from Salem Street to Aiken Street, Meehan Way.
Seconded by Councilor Nuon. On the motion. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thank you for filing the motion, Mr. Mayor. President Mann have served after law school, Suffolk Law School, and then he went on to work for, Tom Riley, the District Attorney Office, Middlesex in 1991, ran for Congress, and served 14 years, and then Chancellor of UMass Lowell, and now President of UMass Lowell. He certainly has an exceptional career and public service commitment. His belief in focusing, focusing on giving back and investing in not just UMass institution, but also in Lowell as well. So the naming the street after him, Mr. Mayor, is a way to honor him for what he done for Lowell. Thank you.
Councilor Juran?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question. So I'm assuming that this would be kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, like an overlay, that we're not changing the official name of the street.
Yeah, we are.
Or are we?
Yes.
So I'm just trying to think about the implications about the post office and everything else for all, because I actually think Bashand Hall might be also here. If maybe I'm off on the corner, but this is, so there are things that are not UMass Lowell related. I'm just trying to understand the implications and how quickly it gets done, et cetera. I have no problem with the
It
concept.
stops at Salem Street, so it's all a UMass Lowell's property except for the hydro plant.
So, okay, and so we'll basically have the street named one thing here, another thing here, and then Father Morissette.
Correct.
Is the intent.
Yeah, like it does now, it already does that. If you look, you got French Street stops and then Pawtucket Street starts.
Right, but now there'll be 3. No?
No.
Okay. Just trying to understand sort of how, whether it causes a hassle for anybody, not that I have a problem with the
Vacant
concept.
street. It's Father Morissette.
Councilor Liang.
Wait a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since this is in the Acre neighborhood, I I like also to make sure what the gentleman just said also being looked at in terms of what happened then. Just research and also.
We're on the motion.
I know.
So I
I
know
know.
the gentleman got to say something that wasn't on the motion, but we're on the motion, and the manager said he would take care of the part
All
that
right,
the
okay.
gentleman said.
Okay. So, I mean, as long, this is great. This will give some more light into the neighborhood and, probably can make the street, much more attentive and better. And so therefore, I mean, I support the motion, and I think it'll help the neighborhood and also the legacy of Mr. Meehan as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wholeheartedly support the motion. Thank Mr. Meehan. He, President, he deserved it wholeheartedly. Grew up the Acre, pulled himself up, reached the top to Congress, returned back to his hometown, and make UMass Lowell what it is today. He, during his tenure and now serving as president of the UMass system, especially for UMass Lowell, he increased student enrollment. Have 5 new buildings on campus. Really put UMass Lowell on the map. So I think he deserved that street to be named after him. My questions or my concern, maybe through you, Mr. Mayor, to the city manager, if you could work with the chancellor, because I know that the motion on the agenda, which I was prepared to support, and the amendment to it, I'm not quite sure what part of the street is which. So if the recommendation from the manager and chancellor, whatever area of the street that would be, I would wholeheartedly support that. Just that'd be fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I commend you for bringing this forward. It's through up and downs of Lowell, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Mr. Meehan has always been there for Lowell. It's his home. He's proud of it. It shows gratefully. I think this is a great motion. As far as where you want it, I support the original motion. If you make an amendment, I support it. I think it's nice when we get the opportunity to solidify appreciation for somebody while they're still with us and show just exactly how much they've impacted our community. And I think this is a very nice gesture. So I thank my colleague for bringing this forward, and whatever way that amendment or whatever on the floor ends up being, I fully support this.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do support your motion. You're asking for a certain section, which is UMass Lowell. I don't have a problem with that. That absolutely could be. It's an honor for Marty Meehan. I think the world of Marty Meehan. But the substitute motion is taken, from Pawtucket Street, we're going Are we going all the way down Father Morrisette Boulevard? That's where Aiken Street is.
No. It comes from the baseball park, Aiken Street. You know where the baseball park is and where the UMass Lowell Towers are? So now you would have the baseball park part of it. You would have the UMass Fox Hall part of it. The only thing that wouldn't be is the Boot Hydro plant. It would be
Oh, I
one
see.
way.
You're going
So
down
you're getting all of
Pawtucket
UMass
Street.
Lowell property, so it.
Oh, you're not
falls.
touching Father Morrisette
No,
Boulevard. You're
no.
going all the way down Pawtucket Street.
Yep. If you come over the Aiken Street Bridge, you're going to take that right, and from the ballpark to Salem Street would be named.
All right, I was going the other way, down Father Morrisette Boulevard to Aiken Street. Okay, I see where you're going now. I don't have a problem. I thought it was somewhere else.
Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. Actually, the reason that I put forth I still don't know if this is an amendment or a substitute. It doesn't really matter.
It's an amendment.
It's an amendment. Thank you. Good. I don't know what the difference. I know what the difference is. I don't know how we decide which one we're doing. The reason I put the amendment forward is because of how confusing. Everyone has said enough about President Meehan, Chancellor Meehan, Congressman Meehan. But part of the impetus here was how confusing the mess of an intersection is when you have people visiting UMass Lowell. As a former student at UMass Lowell, and I'd have friends from other colleges come over. It's like a Pawtucket Street, Pawtucket Boulevard's on the other side of the river. Which Pawtucket? Okay, but now I'm on Pawtucket Street. Wait, that's a one-way street. Now I got to go down Why am I now I'm on Father Morrisette? Okay, now I'm on Aiken. Okay, now I'm back where I was. And so part of, I think, what I see here is as a double, is winning twice, is we honor President Meehan, but we also make it much easier to navigate for people who are not from the city of Lowell, but who are now living as college students. So if people come in to visit, you put, whatever address Meehan Way in, and you're going to wind up, there's no confusion. You're not going to Pawtucketville, you're not.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Councilor Rook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I trust your intention behind the motion. I think what you mean is correct. I also trust that you will make the right decision with the manager and with Chancellor Chen. So I will support your motion. And if we could do a roll call, please.
Could I say a couple things on the motion? I didn't even get to speak. It went right to you guys.
That took much longer than I thought it would, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Nuon. I'm sorry, Councilor Rook.
Mr. Mayor, you have 3 minutes.
When we get up there, we all become comedians, huh? I did the same thing. No, it's really an honor to be able to put this forward, and I agree with, we did speak to the university once this was said, and see if this was something that could be done, and from Aiken Street to Salem Street was okay with everybody, as Council Rook said, and I spoke to the manager also about it. But let's talk about Marty Meehan for a minute, Throughout his distinguished career, Marty Meehan has exemplified what it means to lead with integrity, vision, and purpose. Marty has always been Lowell, and I think everyone in this UMass system understands Marty is from Lowell. From his years serving in the United States Congress to his transformative leadership in higher education, he has remained steadfast in his commitment to expanding opportunities and strengthening Lowell. As president of the University of Massachusetts system, Marty has championed access, affordability, innovation, ensuring that students from all backgrounds have the chance to succeed and thrive in a university setting and in the city of Lowell. His dedication has not only elevated the university system, but has also had a lasting impact on the city of Lowell and beyond. When you read about UMass Lowell in all of the college pamphlets you see, they tell you we're in the top 10 in almost everything, every category, which we weren't before he became the chancellor and now president. What truly sets apart Marty is his ability to bring people together, to listen, to collaborate, and to move forward with shared purpose. Councilor Robinson and I met with him at one point about LaLasha Field, and we all knew in this room that we couldn't ever afford to remodel that. It just wasn't going to happen. And Marty being Marty would not commit to anything, he said, I'll get back to you. And today it's going to be at the home of a college elite baseball team called the Lowell Spinners again. And what fitting tribute to name in front of that building, Marty Mean Way. It's Mean Way, not Marty Mean Way. Because, you know, if you ever met his family, his dad, Buster, would be the proudest person you ever met in your lifetime to see that name put on it. His leadership reflects a deep understanding that progress is built through partnership, persevering, and a genuine belief in the potential of others, especially here in Lowell. It's an honor to put this motion forward with all of you, with all the support of the city councilors and my colleagues. So I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to put this motion forward. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Point of order, could we just know what we're voting on? Could we?
We're just voting on, it's, okay, I'll read it.
Thank you.
May I get your request the city manager have the proper department name the area of Pawtucket Street from Aiken Street to Salem Street, Mean Way, in honor of UMass President Martin T. Meehan. Roll call.
Counsel Juran.
Yes.
Counsel Liang.
Yes.
Counsel McDonough.
Yes.
Counsel Mercier.
Yes.
Counsel Nuon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
Counsel Dakota. Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
7, communications from the city manager. 7.1, motion response.
No, we're not. We haven't finished the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I moved right through. I did. I'm having one of those. I am having one of those nights, and Councilor Rourke is loving it. This is what happens when you take things out of order.
6.7, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, Councilor Rourke. I ruined your night. 6.7, Councilor Chow requests the city manager provide a status update on the repairs and improvement to the public way on East Street as originally requested on July 25th, 2023, seconded by Councilor Liang. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to withdraw that motion that I spent on the paving list already. So appreciate it. Thank you to the administration for moving on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.9, Councilor Chow requests the city manager have the proper department look into the feasibility of installing security cameras at the municipal parking lot at Couple Square, bordered by Coral Street, Leroy Street, and Loring Street, to enhance public safety and to deter illegal dumping in the area. Seconded by Councilor Mercier. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do believe we have a person here that would like to speak on it from the neighborhood. Could I suspend the rule and have that person speak,
Motion to
please?
suspend the rules by Councilor Chow, seconded by Councilor McDonough, to allow a resident to speak. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Just state your name and address for the record.
Hi there. My name is Aaron Pick. I live at 27 Leroy Street, which is basically a street behind Couple Square. If you're aware, Couple Square is a pretty busy neighborhood. Probably about 10 years ago, they did a big renovation and they improved a lot. And the city did a great job in revamping the whole square there. But throughout the years, I've been there since 2007, approaching 20 years now in the same neighborhood. So I've seen a lot of changes. A lot of it's been good, but some recently has been kind of a little bit bad. I know Councilor Chow has installed lights last time at the parking lot, which improved a lot because that parking lot used to be so dark. And a lot of stuff shady stuff has been going on over there. But since the light has been in that lot, I think there's been a lot of improvement. But for me, what I've talked to Councilor Chow about is right now is about the trash and about the illegal dumping that's going on over there. Because nobody really patrols that area. It's busy. There's a lot of business in the front. Hong Kong restaurant, Hong Kong market, and stuff like that. It's a lot of foot traffic. As of right now, there's no trash barrels at all on the backside. I believe there's 2 currently in the front on Western Street, but on the backside where the lots are, I believe there are none. So unfortunately, without any trash barrel, people just kind of throw stuff everywhere all the time. So I think if we can have some trash barrels out there, that would be helpful. I mean, it's not going to eliminate it, but I think it's going to help reduce some of the trash that's out there. And I spoke to Councilor Chow about possibly installing cameras. I don't know if that's within the budget or not, but something that would discourage people from illegally dumping. It's not going to 100% stop it, but I think it'll definitely reduce a lot of that. I try to get a lot of my neighbors here and also the business. I spoke to all of them, and they're in agreement that we need to do something with that. They couldn't make it here today on short notice, but they want something to be done back there. A camera would help with that. Also signage. Also, a lot of the local pet owners would also walk that area, and they would. Unfortunately, their pet would just relieve themselves, and they don't pick up after their pets. So unfortunately, not a lot of people are able to walk that area. It's kind of filthy. So if you can have some kind of signage there to prevent that, for owners to pick up after their pets, barrels again, that would be very helpful. I don't know. That's pretty much what I kind of requested for. And thank you for your time, and hopefully we can get it done.
Thank you. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to thank the speaker for being here to speak on behalf of the neighborhood. First, I'd like to thank the Assistant City Manager, Sean Machado, Parks, and Streets, who actually went to clean up the area in the back before this motion was actually being made. So the motion tonight is for feasibility to install cameras. It's public safety issues. So if the administration can do something about it, it'd be great. I know my colleague, Special Councilor Rita Mercier, put similar motions about cameras at areas that are popular or shouldn't be popular for illegal dumping. So, so as to prevent people from throwing trash around. That area, as the speaker mentioned, it's a combination of the business corridor and residential. So it's very, very important to have the area safe and clean. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Liang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been to that area, I guess, maybe 5 or 6 times a week. So I know the area pretty well. I do agree also with the speaker that there's additional solution to just beside installing a camera, because I think by having camera there, and the process might be taking longer, but increase more enforcement in terms of like patrolling, that might work. And also, at time I did see dog walkers actually didn't pick up the dog thing. So I do agree, and it's real and it's happening there. Sometimes we do see mattresses being put back there by the parking lots, the Leroy parking lot there, and so along that stretch area, I think it needs a little bit more support. And I do agree again with the 2 solution that the speaker can put forth or ask about. Is basically more maybe trash bin on either side, or also signage as well. So thank you. And this is, I mean, if it's called for cameras, then it'll be good, but there should be some sort of short-term solution to this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Leroy there, I would also ask through you to the managers to have DPW mark the parking as well, that you can't see the parking from one to the next. I know that the Hong Kong market and the laundromat lease some parking space from the city, and maybe having health inspector speaking to property owner, the business owner there, and help upkeep the areas as well. It's their responsibilities as well. It's their restaurants there, their markets there, their laundromat there. So working in conjunction with DPW to help clean that maybe once every other week. And I agree with having trash can, maybe 1 or 2, But also just get the, now that the weather is good, you know, it's hot out, so mark the parking lane as well, because, you know, that way people don't cross the lane and, you know, and can see it clear, the parking space there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.10, Council McDonough requests the city manager work with the appropriate department to explore the feasibility of permitting seasonal lights or similar decorations over streets in commercial mixed-use districts, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This motion came out of a series of conversations, a couple downtown business owners, a couple of the event throwing groups. I call them nonprofits, but it's like their whole nonprofit is throwing events. And I think really what they're looking for is that right now it's because of the historic district, we can't hang, even if property owners agreed, they can't hang, and you can't hang anything across the street, even on the quieter streets or even when the roads are closed. And so they're really just looking to see if there is any way to add some flexibility. And I promised I would ask. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.11, Councilor Robinson requests the city manager provide the city council with usage options regarding waste and recycling bins regardless of age, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I know this is with the enterprise and everything we voted on. I was contacted by a couple of residents, and they were upset because one gentleman lives alone. He's 60 years old, if that. I don't even think that. And he was wondering about obtaining a smaller size. He was told you have to be 65 to qualify to get the smaller size. That's why this motion came out. If we're going to be looking into all of these changes, if it's a one-person household or they don't utilize all that space, would they have that option regardless of age? I mean, if a senior and a 40-year-old person uses the same amount of trash, then, I mean, I don't see why we would have to charge the full bin price for anybody that can make do with the smaller size. It's wasted space and it's additional cost to that person.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like Councilor Robinson's motion, and you too, with Councilor Scott. We should. I mean, I know that, you know, we just passed an ordinance, waste ordinance, you know, and because we pay from general fund, this year, $3 million, right around there. So in actuality, the money we collect from waste and recycle, 6.3, and we have to take from general fund $3 million to pay for it. Hence, the enterprise fund for waste and recycle. Maybe we ought to think about, maybe the manager office and look at, explore a possibility of pay as you throw. Oh. Just an idea.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.12, Councilor Scott requests the city manager report on the legalities of commercial vehicles parked on public streets overnight in parking on impervious surfaces, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, of course, we have ordinances on the books already, but I've heard from so many residents about this. There are just so many questions around what is a commercial vehicle, what hours can they park on the street, what rules apply to them parking all over their yard. And what I've seen is this dramatic, or what the residents have seen is this dramatic increase in commercial businesses that are not renting space and they're just parking, 10, 12 vans on the road. So there's people that just have a lot of questions. And I know the city manager and the assistant city manager is always extremely responsive about these concerns. But I'd just like to bring it forward, kind of an informative piece for the public, what's allowed, what's not allowed, have a shared understanding, and then when the report comes back, possibly have a conversation about parking enforcement outside of downtown and within the neighborhoods. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6.13, Councilor Scott, may I get your request, city manager work with the Sustainability Council to explore cost-saving measures around trash, recycling, and yard waste. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So obviously, we're all aware of the dramatic increases in disposal costs that we've encountered, and we've gone to this enterprise account. And what I don't want to do is go back again to residents again a year from now, because the costs are going to keep going up. I mean, that's just the way things are going. Overseas doesn't want to take our trash anymore. It's harder and harder to dispose of it. So I did have the opportunity. Originally, the first thing I served on was the Recycling Committee and Sustainability Council in the city, and I thought it was a real resource for the city. We did a lot of research work. So some of the things that I think that they could be a real valuable tool for is looking at how we can lower contamination costs. There's going to be a possible mandate on curbside composting coming down the road from the state. So this is something they can get ahead of and really work on that. 2030 is the estimated date, which is an additional cost for the city. I don't know how that's going to play out, but they could look at that. The yard waste schedule. I know we all love our yard waste. I think we pick up 30 times a year. I looked at other towns, it's about 12. Now that we're paying for it as residents within the enterprise fund, I think it's something you might want to bring out to residents. What do they value and what do they want to keep and not keep now that it's their funds that are completely paying for it? So these are the questions that in the pay-as-you-throw obviously is an option for people like me that use less trash. Maybe that's something they want to explore. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 7.1, motion response A, jam area plans. Councilor Robinson, Councilor McDonough. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going through this, I thank you for the report. We're all well aware of the challenges we face over in this area in particular. I have to say, enforcement has increased significantly from a year and a half, 2 years ago in some areas and not so much in others. We all know we can set our clocks. The nice weather's here. With the protocols over, we're probably going to see a spike down in that area. And I think we need to really look at, it seemed like we had a good grip on at least the routine patrolling and the routine, hey, move it along. You can't just hang. I took a ride by and it seems like behind certain businesses over there now are coming gathering places again, especially due to the nice weather. It is tough. We do understand we don't have that magic day center for people. Elliott Church has been a great partner in all this, and they do provide some of the services during the day. But I think we really do need to address and step up all in this area, especially now that the nice weather's here, and be mindful of our businesses. We know some of the challenges the businesses have been facing over there. So anything we can do to really increase enforcement and maybe incorporate the transitional living center residents to work with us for monthly cleanups in the general vicinity, or can we get some of these organizations involved to go in and do cleanups in that area to help, address that broken window theory that we see sometimes down there. And so any assistance is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the administration for getting this response back. The only thing that I would ask, or I guess the two things that one thing that I'm still looking for, and it's a longer term, and it wouldn't have come from LPD, so it's not surprising, right? Would just be, and it's a longer term concern around the lighting on Jackson Street, where the one side of the street is dark. And this is not like, where are my floodlights next week? This is just it's a long term issue, and it is something that I hear about every time that there's a neighborhood meeting. And then the other piece, and I don't remember if I talked about this on the floor or not, but that stretch of grass along Jackson Street is so between Jackson Street and the canal. is a magnet for dog waste. And it is abundant, and there are times that residents are putting out their own less than, well, they're PG-13 signs about the dog waste, which is, I get it, they're frustrated. But I think if there's any way that we could get like a dog waste bag over there, I know the city still has a couple. I can't make the people pick it up, but we could make it easier. And I think to what Councilor Robinson is saying, the broken windows thing, the kind of general vibe of the neighborhood goes beyond just ongoing persistent issues. There's also I think lower hanging fruit that can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Councilor Liang.
I just also want to thank the city managers for this work. I know it's not enough and it's needed some more, but I drove by the other day and I saw a lot of kids playing in the parks and a family were walking around the areas. So I'm assuming something good's happening, and that's why people are coming out and using the areas and stuff like that. So it's a beginning, and I just want to say thank you for that. So especially when the weather's basically is getting warmer and families are coming out. So it's a progress. Thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Juran, seconded by Councilor Chow. Motion response B, department reports. Councilor Juran or Councilor Scott? Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This list was very helpful, and I think it's helpful for residents to take a look at it, to know what's been reported on and where they can find it, because the links are there. However, as Councilor Scott suggested in the neighborhood subcommittee meeting we had on March 5th, I think she had suggested having a centralized place to find reports. I think that might be challenging because these all relate to different departments and they seem to be, located sort of in that department. But maybe some sort of a wayfinding page on the city website so people can know where to look if they're looking for an audit report or a, street paving report or whatever would be helpful. And then the original, so I think that could just make it easier on a going forward basis. So it's not just sort of having to find this document and then searching. The original motion on January 20th was to create a schedule of reports to be provided by the administration on a regular basis, annual, quarterly, or monthly. So that rather than having to do an ad hoc mechanism where motions get put on the agenda for information, we can all work together to figure out which reports will be coming when. And I think that can help the administration prepare and help residents know what's coming. And I think the goal, as I stated at the time, was to find a balance between providing more information to the public that the public would find useful, but without burdening the administration. So I think there may need to be a dialogue rather than a demand. And I have a list of things that I could suggest, and I could take time now, but I don't need to do that. But I've been thinking about this quite a while, and I think we can all just do better in how we work together. And I know that is part of what the administration has been doing with what we'll hear as we get to the motion tracker. So it kind of is a similar concept to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Scott?
Thank you. I would just echo about the central location, I guess, for the reports. We were at the Highlands meeting last night, and a few people said, do you post, what the city spends? Do you post, it was almost, like it's hidden information, and we don't want people to think that. So if there's a way for residents, even if it's in the update section, to put this is all of our city reports links or something out there that we communicate, that we're transparent, and that people can readily find information that they'd like to see. Thank you.
Auditor Oates, you made us all look really good last night with your reports and Munis and everything. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Motion response C, wetlands do not disturb. Councilor Scott.
Thank you. And I'd just like to thank the DPD for this response. I think it was a very good balance between, what we were talking about the 50 foot and the 25 feet, making sure that we're not stopping development in the city, overly stopping it. And I think this is good. We're protecting the wetlands, and it's a step forward. So I look forward to the ordinance. Thank you.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council is, if you wish to move forward, the suggestion that I was asked was that the council asks the law department to put an ordinance together, we'll bring the ordinance back, and from that perspective, we would then refer to the Conservation Commission, if the council so wishes.
I'd make a motion to do that.
Motion by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Rook. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It says the DPD staff recommends implementing a 25-foot no-build zone. What is it now?
To Mr. Mayor, there's no ordinance right now that prevents
there's
people, so
none.
it's at the Conservation Commission discretion when they
I
do review
see.
the applications.
So that would be a good motion, because, yeah, that's a good one. You want a roll call on that?
It's up to Councilor Scott. No?
That's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Nuon, seconded by Councilor Mercier. Motion response D, Sexual Assault, Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month, Victims' Rights Month. Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Mr. Managers and CFO Connors for the report. The report indicated identified a few ways to raise awareness, one of which, to lighten the bridge in honors of survivor. That's a nice way to do it, and also promoting and prevention and raise awareness about the impact of sexual assault and children abuse or child abuse. It's also indicated that to work collaboratively with local partners and community organizations to prevent violence and strengthen community well-being. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the managers, do we still have that sexual assault / domestic violence task force? How often do we meet?
Councilor, I would have to get back to you on the last meeting on that.
The task force, is that consists of varieties of organizations, including the DA and the court and everything else?
Yes.
Mr. Manager.
Sorry, Ms. May. 3 to the council. Yes, it does.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Juran, seconded by Councilor Chow. 7.2 Informational Report, Winterfest 2026. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through you to the council. Council is a very exciting time, obviously. I want to say thank you very much to everybody down in Case, Ms. DeRosiers, who's here, Ms. Silk, who is here. They have all of the information here, but it's something that you can kind of thumb through. What I thought was very impressive was the estimated attendance being 13,000 people. Now, I want to say that it's because we throw one heck of a party. It could have also been because it was 45 degrees. 50 degrees in the middle of the winter. So, but the parking passes, the awards that were happening, the fact that the cake boss was in town, and a special thank you to the technical high school, Greater Lowell Tech, for putting that together. As everyone probably noticed today, the cake that Buddy Velastro made is now encased, and I know that the Greater Lowell Tech had everything to do with that, making that happen. But we really heard a lot of activity, a lot going on. People really loved what we did. So it's really here for any questions, thoughts, concerns. If anyone has an idea of how we could do this better in the future, I'd love to know, because I think we really knocked it out of the park. And thank you very much to the Bicentennial organization that helped us fund some of this stuff. Some of the things that were happening was a little bit beyond what we would typically do as a typical Winterfest. So thank you very much to Ms. Mahoney, Mr. Pangiotakis, and Mr. Gunther.
Thank you, Manager Golden. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. Great job done by all. One of the things that really jumped out, the numbers piece here, and I think this is a goal. Can we work towards getting this kind of ROI, so to say? 34 participating businesses, and on follow-up, 76% of businesses reported an excellent experience. I think that's huge. If there's a way to follow up that 36 businesses, or 34 businesses, 76% report an excellent experience, we need to figure out ways to put people at the businesses' doorstep like we did here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Juran, seconded by Councilor McDonough. 7.2 Information Report, Motion Tracker, Q1 2026. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Councilors, this is this informational that we're talking about, the quarterly motion tracker. It is, we are still, this is a work in progress. It is something that is obviously new to us as well. This is all within our 311 system, and we are working out a few of the kinks in it, but we'd appreciate any feedback that you may have on it or discussions to how to make this better in the future. And I'll leave it to the council to make any of those calls or decisions that how we could change this to make it better.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor Scott. 7.3 Communication, appointments of Nala Ojeda and Hunter Berraby to the Lowell Youth Commission. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rook, seconded by Councilor Nuon.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Mercia.
would it be possible when we get to the voting to take 8.1, 8.2, 8.4, 8.5, the remaining votes, and bundle them, please?
Motion to bundle 8.1, 8.2, 8.4, and 8.5 by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Nuon.
I'd like to have discussion on 8.5.
Mr. Mayor, before we do that, can I ask for suspension? I'm sorry, a point of personal privilege, take an item that's not on the agenda?
Yep.
Do I have the?
Motion by Councilor Scott for personal privilege, seconded by Councilor Rook.
Thank you, Mr.
All
Mayor.
in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor
Just
Scott.
as a time-sensitive issue, residents have been reaching out to me all night asking me about a culvert, the street closed on Billerica Street. I just wanted to see if you could quickly give an update for that.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilor, thank you very much for that, and thank you for staying. Obviously, it's in right in the heart of your district. So, what we experienced is a problem over on the Billerica Street culvert. We've made the decision to shut it down. We've been in contact with Mass DOT, and tomorrow, I believe at 2 o'clock, there is a meeting to have a discussion. We believe it's going to cost approximately $1.2 million to fix, and with any hope, talking to our partners in the district over at Mass DOT, we're looking to apply for a grant. Our engineers have already started to apply for this, and that was back in November of 2025 into December. So it is our hope that in the next, I would say in the next week to 2 weeks, we'll have this knowledge as to what Mass DOT would suggest. We have really been working with Paul Stedman very closely in regards to this, because another concern that we obviously have is Woburn Street. Many people may not know this, but there's another culvert that goes through Woburn Street. So we want to ensure that Billerica Street is taken care of as soon as possible. And by as soon as possible, I mean if we are able to access the funds from the state to the up to $1 million, that would put the city on the hook for approximately $200,000 if our numbers are correct. At that point in time, we would hope before the end of this year, this calendar year, that Billerica Street would be completed, but that is all to be determined within, quite frankly, in the next week to 2 weeks. So I'll gladly, Councilor, bring something back or as an informational once we have this meeting with Mass DOT. As I said, it will happen tomorrow. I'm not sure if it will be rectified tomorrow, but I cannot say enough about Mass DOT and how responsive, quite frankly, they've been, and a shout out to our engineers. They were on this as of last year. We knew there was a problem. We're on top of it, and we're just glad that nothing happened. So currently, right now, for the folks in the Billerica Street area, it will be a little inconvenient because it will be shut down, and I think it's shut down for the right purposes right now, for the safety purposes. But I can get back to you in the next, I hope, within the next 2 weeks to give you a firm update.
Yeah, and if you could email the council with an update on it all. And obviously, the EMS services, everyone's aware that the culvert is closed. Like, that's kind of what's been brought up to me. They just want to make sure that that's been relayed, so.
I will.
That the road is closed.
To the council, I will make sure that that has happened, but typically before engineering closes down a road, we make sure that that does happen. So I'll check with the commissioner, the superintendent, as well as the fire chief and Pride Star.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. Going back to the agenda, 8 votes from mayor, 8.1 vote.
So will we be, just...
Yes, you'll be able to ask questions on any one
Okay,
of them at the
great.
end. Yep. After they're read, just say which one you want to ask a question on, and you can certainly ask questions. 8.1 vote, accept deed 251 Church Street, waive full reading and second reading by title. 8.2, vote accept deed 60 Claremont Street, waive full reading and second reading by title. 8.4, vote accept expend 2000 Walmart grant fire, waive full reading and second reading by title. 8.5, vote authorize city manager execute annual action plan FY26, FY27, waive full reading by title. Any, Councilor Robinson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On 8.5, through you to the manager. Did we get any of the pretty much social service nonprofits applying for any of this money? And if so, is it because of the regulations that we're not really awarding any of that this year?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. We did. There was less people this year due to the changes that we brought forward. We did have a meeting to inform everybody that the federal government did make some changes. But at this point in time, we're looking that we believe we can do it from the in-house. We'll still be able to work with people from this. I know that Mr. Camilo's here to talk about this, Mr. Esposito to talk about this as well. But we are in a time of change from the federal government. If this money were to go out and we were to allow it to go out and the federal government came back, they would actually be coming to the city.
After the whole pot?
Correct. To make the CDBG monies whole if there was a problem. So at this point, where we believe we can deal with this on it from the inside perspective.
Okay.
Now there is one, and I'm gonna lean on Mr. Esposito for that. ESG, I think it's the ESG programs.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. So yeah, the only so everything has been affected by the federal regulations, as the manager stated. Everything has to do with restrictions, particularly on DI language. We found out that several of these organizations have that in their as part of their mission statements and their goals, and so that would affect in the future should any reporting back to the federal government make us be responsible for that funding. That mostly affects CDBG funding in itself, which is the part that would allocate the public services. But it doesn't really affect ESG and it doesn't affect home funding, except for the fact that there were reductions in the funding itself. But the allocation that was mostly affected and that we decided to shift the funding towards the city doing the work was the CDG funds.
Thank you for that explanation. I just have one more question. I noticed we're allocating 100,000 out of this to the bid. Isn't that kind of putting the cart before the horse? Do we anticipate this being up and running in this fiscal year? The bid, the council hasn't even vetted what this looks like for sure yet, and there's been no vote taken. So this requested allocation, it's a little premature, don't you think?
So we are in the process of drafting the MOU with the businesses. We are having it reviewed by the legal department before the manager actually signs the commitment from the city. So it's both ways. It's showing the businesses that we are committed to providing the funding for the responsibilities that we have with the businesses. So that's in process. We are assuming, we're hoping that actually gets executed this year, so we can allocate these $100,000 for the bid. Okay.
And what happens if we don't end up allocating that 100K, say? Is it stay, or can we allocate it elsewhere at that point?
If we don't execute the MOU with the bid?
If that's not up and running by the end of the year and this money's sitting and we have to reapply for funds next year, what happens to the money unused?
We have the flexibility of reallocate the 100,000 to something else that's related to economic development in the city.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor McDonough.
Thank my colleague for saying it first, but I do have a follow-up question on the bid allocation. I share Councilor Robinson's concern, and that's that, I mean, I've seen the draft MOU. I think the whole council has seen the draft MOU. It was in an informational. We did not vote on the memorandum of understanding. I also, in looking at other communities that have gone through a business improvement district process, I understand that there are some very enthusiastic property owners. I get it. I've met with all of them too. But these things don't happen in 8 months, right? Like this is, the petition process is just starting. You need half of your property owners and 60% of your assessed value to agree to this. And I agree with Councilor Robinson. I'm not saying this because I'm opposed necessarily to them eventually getting this $100,000, but I have a hard time seeing us arriving at this point before the end of the year. And sorry, and I also just want to add that voting or looking at this allocation of funds before the public process of the before a public vote on a memorandum of understanding, before the neighborhood and other surrounding areas, anyone in the city has had a chance to comment on this project, it feels rushed. That's really my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough. Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I don't see things in the same way as the other councilors, because I think there are other things on this list that are not completely baked yet. There are general economic development, exactly how those loans are going to be spent, et cetera, is not necessarily something that's been figured out yet. So I guess I think this is a plan, and that's what we're sort of working towards.
Hi, thank you, Councillor and Mr. Mayor. So we will have a 30-day commentary period that's required by HUD that kicks in tomorrow, and so we will use that 30-day to adjust anything that would need to be adjusted in these allocations. But we are required to have this vote by the council, and it's part of the regular process. As far as the ability to reallocate the $100,000, it is flexible precisely because it's within the economic development bucket. So we could move things around as long as they serve the same purpose.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Chow. Oh, you want to go again?
Yeah, I just had one other question unrelated to that discussion. When I look at the numbers for the prior fiscal year and this fiscal year, it looks like in a number of cases, the amount that the city will be receiving is higher than in the prior fiscal year, if I'm interpreting it correctly. So I just wanted to understand, because that seemed surprising, I guess.
Thank you. No, we actually got reductions in all three. In CDBG, we got a 5% reduction in relation to last year. In ESG, we got a 2.9% reduction, and in home, a 3.8 reduction.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure I follow the numbers that way, but that's helpful when I'm looking at the details. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Juran. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on be clear, I want to speak on the 8.5 on the annual action plan. I actually commend the administration for bringing the vote forward tonight. It's very, very timely. I happen to catch the news that at the federal level, there have been threats to cut the CDBG money, although it's currently being blocked right now. But you just never know what's going to happen. So it's important that we submit this vote for tonight, get on a timely manner. Councilor Robinson I want to make a couple of comments there. Councilor Robinson did allude to some of the cuts to the nonprofits, and specifically so that the public are aware, the funders have been cutting the home and service, the housing rehab, and one of my favorites is the first-time home buyer. I think this is probably some of the mandates that the manager mentioned that we have to follow in order to keep on receiving the CDBG money. The second thing I'm concerned with is that the money for the senior center. I know through Mr. Mayor to Mr. Manager, given what our prior discussion on the senior center and CDBG money, is this still protocol? Is it still following compliance and things like that with this amount that we're submitting to? Okay. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Nuon.
I'm all set, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we're done with 8.5, I had some comments or questions and comments on 8.1 and 8.2. First, just to understand the process, with this kind of, I won't call it a tax taking, but the equivalent, I assume that the city is under no obligation to pay the equity to the owner from whom the properties are received.
City Solicitor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, so there's two separate sort of prongs that go along with the recent changes that went along with tax title, and there is a separate statute as referenced in there for deeds in lieu of foreclosure. This is something that I know the city hasn't pursued, at least recently or in my time here, and it's a very powerful weapon. It's very beneficial to the city. It allows us to completely remove land court from the entire process, and we can move on quicker. And honestly, it really is better for both parties. Where some of them, when they owe upwards of $200,000, they're never going to get us that money, and we know we're not going to get it. But in situations like this, it works out great. So in this scenario, no, we would not have to.
Thank you. And do we have plans on how we're going to use these two properties? Just that's a curiosity question. I've got a substantive one. No, okay.
Not at this time.
Okay, not at this time. Thank you. So I do have a question about the 251 Church Street property, which is one I pass frequently. And it is a triangle right on Church Street, right by the river, that is adjacent to 239 Church Street, which is a nail salon. And per Lowell deeds, these two properties and others in the neighborhood have been sold back and forth between affiliated entities for a number of years. Every time I drive by these properties, there are cars parked on 251 Church Street, the triangle that the city would be acquiring, and it's set up with stripes for parking. I took pictures the other day, but even if you just do a Google search, you will see cars parked there. So I understand that the business might need the parking, but this seems like the owner of the building might be avoiding paying taxes on that property and maybe still allowing its tenants to use this now city-owned property for parking. Now, that may be the city's plan. It may be good for business, but I would like to make a motion that the city manager that we understand what the use will be and that either the business is notified not to use the space or there's an agreement put in place to ensure that, parking, rent, liability, et cetera, is, addressed clearly and intentionally.
Do we need a motion, or do you want him just to look into it and get back to you?
Whatever is, yeah.
Mr. Manager? All right. You look into it and get back to you?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Through you to the manager. I just have a question on, again, the CDBG. I noticed under the project delivery pieces, 7.5% cost associated with administering public facility contracts, including a 15% increase in fringe costs. What is that like? Can I get clarification on that, please?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. CDBG allows us to charge staff time, if that's what your question is. We have to go any deeper than that. As far as staff time, one of them is for an inspector as well. Is that answering your question, Councilor?
Yes and no. I mean, I see for example, prior amount was $346K. This year it's 630, which is a significant increase, but then it also points to 7.5% cost associated administering public facility contracts, including a 15% in fringe costs.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, to the council. That is what is allowed by CDBG to charge for that. For fringe benefits, meaning if we're using staff time, we can also pay for their health care, et cetera, out of their insurance I hope I'm answering your question,
Yeah, so it'd be whatever the resources necessary, that's the max that you'd be able to allow towards the chargeback off of facilitating this entire pool of money for this specific earmark.
That'd be correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
I hope I've answered.
No, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. Just one more time on the business improvement district, $100,000. I want to be really clear that this is not like a neutral economic development policy. We're working out the final details of who's going to receive the pop-up, whatever. That by many, as people who live in downtown start finding out about the bid, and they have questions and they have concerns, and some of them are founded and some of them are a little, however, they are real, and I have my own reservations. And I also just want to stress that if we take this vote and the $100,000 comes in and there is no bid to spend this money in this fiscal year, we can't still spend this money somewhere else, right? Just one more time, sorry.
Correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. The last thing that I would say, because I've heard how the council has spoken, but most of my colleagues, the last time this came up, and a colleague again tonight, is that because this is not neutral, right? And I think this council has very recent experience with this. It is not uncommon that we take a vote, or past councils take a vote on what looks to be, a fairly mundane trash fee ordinance. And then I think everyone in the city realizes what was passed, and now they realize that they've been affected, and then they reach out, and then at the following meeting we have questions. I just wanted to make sure, right, that before we appropriated the money and committed down the road, and then all of a sudden residents pour forward and they go, wait, no, we want to know about this, and have you added that, we had that opportunity. So thank you. I'm glad we can still move the money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Motion to adopt by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Nuon. Roll call.
Councilor Juran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Nuon.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Koto. Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. 9, ordinances from the city manager. 9.1 ordinance, amend fee schedule, city clerk's office. Give first reading. Motion to refer to a public hearing on April 28th, 2026 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Nuon, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 10, reports of subcommittees. 10.1, Economic Development Subcommittee, April 7th, 2026. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. A subcommittee met, and I think a great conversation was established. Present on roll call was myself, Chairman Robinson, Councilor Juran, Councilor McDonough. Also present were Austin Ball, Assistant CFO Maria Dickinson, DPD, Camille Espita, DPD, Allison Carter, DPD, Councilor Mercia, Councilor Nuon, Councilor Scott, Manager Golden, and Giovanni Baez-Rose. At this meeting, we basically began the conversation centered around looking at the tax incentive programming. The DPD was instrumental in laying out what a base tax incentive program looks like. We are all aware, as we were presented informative display of how we're far below what other communities are offering, and I think that kind of opens the door for some creative thinking internally. It's going to be a heavy lift to get to where we want to go ultimately, because it's going to require a lot of internal coordination with this. But I think for the community, it's something that they should kind of be excited about, because it's going to be, again, a work in progress. But we're looking at every opportunity, and Councilor McDonough and myself met up for a coffee over the weekend, and another piece that really jumped out, and it was brought to us by a resident in his district, is we need to look to also, one of the things when we're looking at tax incentives, and especially if it's district specific, we have a huge arts community that is looking for space, and all kinds of space. And I think those are the kind of initiatives that, above and beyond a baseline package for tax incentives, we can work and try to implement and come out with a metric system where it's a sliding scale. You might get a more lucrative tax incentive if you're willing to pretty much voluntarily work out a community benefits agreement to some extent. So it's a work in progress. I appreciate all the conversation, and it was a great start, and I look forward to successor conversations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Motion to accept the report of progress by Councilor Rook, seconded by Councilor Juran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 10.2, we'll wait till next week. Thank you, Councilor Juran. Petitions. 11.1, Boston Gas requests permission to replace existing cast iron gas main at 24 to 360 Gorham Street. Give first reading. Motion to refer to a public hearing on April 28, 2026 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Chow. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 11.2, Boston Gas requests permission to replace existing cast iron gas main at 67 to 94 Kinsman Street. Give first reading. Motion to refer to a public hearing on April 28, 2026 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 11.3, National Grid requests permission to install underground electric conduit at 50 Drake Street. Give first reading. Motion to refer to public hearing on April 28, 2026 at 7 p.m. by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor McDonough. 12, City Council Executive Session. 12.1, Executive Session to consider and discuss ongoing negotiations relative to the disposition of 41 Hurd Street, public discussion of which may have a detrimental effect on negotiating position of the city, and further to consider and discuss collective bargaining strategies under the Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, B, 3 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts General Laws, public discussion of which may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the city. Motion to enter executive session, adjourn from executive session by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Roll call.
Councilor Juran.
Yes.
Councilor Liang.
Yes.
Councilor McDonough.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Nuon.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Rook.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Chow. Councilor Dakota. Mayor Getchia.
Yes.
10 yeas.
Announcements. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like an announcement to come and celebrate 50 years with us. Join the Four Sisters Owl Diner as they celebrate 50 amazing years with our community. April 18th, Saturday, and April 19th on Sunday. Enter to win a Weber gas grill, $700 value, special deals of coffee for only 50 cents with any meal. Started in 1976, 50 years ago. Bring your friends and family and help them celebrate this special milestone. Good food, good company, and a chance to win a great prize. Don't miss it. They would love to celebrate with you at the Four Sisters Owl Diner. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary. Thank you.
Councilor Juran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The NEMCOG, the Northern Middlesex County Council of Governments, has asked that I share that the Citizens Housing and Planning Association, CHAPA, is seeking elected and appointed officials to join a free 6-month Housing Leadership Academy program, which would run from June through December. Applications are open until April 27th. The program covers ways that municipalities can address housing shortages. As I said, the program is free. For information, you can either reach out to me or to NEMCOG, or just Google CHAPA, which is CHAPA, CHAPA Housing Leadership Academy. Thank you.
Councilor Nuon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of my colleague, Councilor Chow and Councilor Liang, the announcement is for this Friday, Cambodian Genocide Remembrance Vigil. It's going to be at JFK Plaza, starting from 5 o'clock to 6:30. Everyone invited. On Saturday, start in the morning at Senior Center There'll be Cambodian New Year's hosted by CMAA. The parade will start at right around 12:30 to Clemente Park. But prior to the parade, there's soft ribbon cutting of the park, Clemente Park, started at 11:30. So those are the invite to all to join us this New Year celebration, but also the candle vigil of remembrance on Friday, 5 to 6:30.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Councilor Liang?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Councilor Nuon's already mentioned about the Clemente Park ribbon cutting. That's going to be on Saturday, and also followed by the Cambodian New Year's from 12 to 5. Again, the ribbon cutting for the Robert Clemente Park is will start at 11:30. So be there, and we'll see you there. And then there's going to be a lot of fun with the Cambodian New Year coming up. Thank you.
Councilor Rook?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to reiterate what I was talking about earlier this evening, we have the Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball Parade. Starts 2 o'clock at the Starlings Arena and heads to Lalasha Park. I think it leaves from 2 to 3:30. So hope to see everybody there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Rook. Councilor Liang?
I think also for those who's at home, the senior center that will start the program for CMAA will begin at 9 a.m. So go by if you want to see the traditional dances, and also a lot of activities happening prior to the parade going toward the Clemente Park and then the ribbon cutting. So please, again, the event will start at 9 a.m. at the senior center if you want to join us over there, and then the ribbon cutting will be at 11:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. Now we'll go over to executive session. Thank you.